Oh, what's that?
What do you got going on there? All right, we're live on the YouTubes.
Camera hoods.
All right, and we are now live on the Instagrams. Here we
Live
are.
on the grams.
All right, everybody. Welcome to America's Outpost. It is Wednesday, October the 22nd. And as always, I am joined by my fellow hosts, the real Brett Lee and Brian Lane. And we're going to talk about today's hot topics in the news. We want to hear what you've all got to say. And with that, let's kick it off. I'm going to start with some headlines here from the Gateway Pundit, fellas. Let's see. Breaking: the identity of a 21-year-old semi-truck driver who killed 3 people in fiery SoCal crash identified. And I'm going to screw this up, but it's Jash Anapreet Singh. If you have not watched the video, they've released the dash cam video of that semi, and he was going full speed right into standstill traffic, completely crushed a car in front of him, and then the truck went off to the right. So pretty nasty accident. I'm not
different from the guy that.
Bro.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, no, this is today.
When you seen this car, once the white vehicle that it struck in front of it
disappeared.
It was like, and then it rolled out to the side of it. It was this wide.
Yeah.
It smashed it so much it was this wide.
God,
it was terrible.
Just you didn't even stand a chance.
Yeah, no, and then he ran off the road and hit a pulled over like a crew vehicle, and I hope I the last thing I want to hear is that he's an illegal or that he somehow he got a CDLs without being a citizen.
Yeah,
so I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, it said the man suspected of being under the influence when he crashed his tractor trailer into a crowd of vehicles on the 10 freeway Tuesday afternoon has been identified. I already said his name. It took 24 hours and a lot of public pressure to get California Highway Patrol to release his name. But again, what do you want to bet? We've got an unqualified driver on the road and under the influence, suspected, so not verified yet. But anyway, tragic all the way around, no doubt about it.
I think that's a grown man aptitude test job.
You think?
Like you're handling that kind of way. Number one, it's hard enough for qualified people, and I'm not saying that he's not qualified, but it's hard enough for people who have been on the road for years to handle that kind of equipment.
Right.
And you see them, the veterans, sometimes they get so tired they be weaving and wobbling. You're like, dude, stay back, and you stay out of the way.
Yeah.
And to get a 21-year-old behind there.
My wife's dad drove trucks for a long time, and he is dead serious about it. He's like, you would not believe the shit that now he does a mechanic shop for trucks. He's like, you would not believe the shit that I see come in my shop, the unqualified people, the guys that they don't shower, they look like shit, they're slobs. He's like, it is, for every 2 guys that you get that take it seriously, you get 10 guys that are just getting in for the paycheck and don't care.
You want to know why? It used to be that being a trucker was a prestigious job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, you'd meet a trucker at a truck stop and it was a sight to behold when I was growing up in the 80s. And it was kind of like meeting an airline pilot. But this trucker, you had the big truck. It wasn't as cool as that, but and they were like good old boys. And
it was a respected job. Yeah.
Yeah. And now they don't pay them enough. These truckers back then, they were back in the early 90s, making $200,000 a year doing some of these jobs. That was big money back then.
Yeah.
And now they're paying them pennies and then pushing it's kind of like Amazon when they just work them to death.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you add that with, unqualified people or people with substance abuse problems, and you've got a recipe for disaster.
Well, yeah. And then you put these guys on impossible timelines in order to get paid. And it's like, well, some of these guys are like, I can't make my quota unless I'm doing drugs. You know what I mean? That's the only way I'm going to function. And it's sad, but it's the sick reality of it. But, and not to disparage anybody that is a truck driver. Like, you guys are awesome. We appreciate you, but
can't do it without you.
At the same time, it's like that industry is rife with a lot of bullshit.
That's a good prime industry for, I'd hate to say this, but AI to take over.
Well, they did those self-driven semis for a while there. I
Yeah,
know
that's
they did the push for the EV, and then they did the self-driving, like the whatever the
yeah.
taxi is now that is
Gosh.
autonomous. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, what's next?
I got this comment. We can talk about this real quick from Jason Seidel. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Any idea what happened to the audit at Fort Knox? I haven't researched it since. We discussed it a couple months back.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah, I heard somebody. Man, I can't remember who it was. I'll have to look it up. But somebody was talking about. They brought it back up again. It was somebody prominent, and then you could see just like deer in headlights. Oh shit! Like Elon brought that up, and we didn't want him to, and he kind of made a big deal about it.
Townsend, Tennessee. I'm about to head over to Cades Cove. We're gonna go.
Who's doing that?
Definitely not me.
Smoky.
Hold on, could be me. Like I said, I'm traveling, so I'm doing this on the fly. Bear
Anyway,
with me 1 second.
Okay, here's the question for y'all. Do we think
Cades Cove.
the gold is in Fort Knox?
I
No.
don't know. I don't know. I did my military time on Fort Knox.
Did you really?
Yeah, and
What,
I was
doing what
a
there?
Charlie. I was a Charlie Force 16 warlord. This has been 97 to
What the
01.
hell is that? I don't. What MOS is that?
Yeah.
No, that was my company.
The
And
hell are y'all
okay.
doing?
was a warlord. And then my MOS, dude, I had the Kush job. I was a 92 Yankee. I wasn't no ground pounder. I was the guy that handed out the death benefits and the paychecks, and basically a
Admin.
glorified account. Yeah. And so then
Goddamn secretary.
and then I transferred. I also started doing some. What was it? Dang. No, I was a 75 hotel first. The 92 Yankee is the supply and stock specialist.
Mhm.
By the time I was getting towards the end of my stint, I was so tired of doing all the things that I was doing. I was like, you know what? I've seen all the Gore-Tex that was coming in. I've seen all the good stuff that they had. And I was like, they were in charge of the weapons. So I became a 92 Yankee. I switched my MOS and became and so I could be there. And then there was this little, I shouldn't be talking about this stuff, but you sell the high ranking officers will always pay good to get the best stuff. There's a
Of
little,
course.
and
Of
so,
course.
and you're always in the fresh stuff. You're looking like you're
Oh,
doing something when you're not.
Hey, supply always had the good shit, man. You know,
I'm telling you, bro.
get best friends with Supply Shop, man.
I was a house mouse at the end. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, man, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Here's another good question from Wagoner Todd. Hey guys, quick question: do you think Xi Jinping may plan to start the second Cold War with the U.S. and its allies?
We've already been in a Cold War. I mean, I would say
One
that.
could argue that. One could argue that.
It's been
You know,
frosty at least.
It has been frosty. The temperature has dropped. I don't know that he would be bold enough to start a full-on, like a full-on Cold War. And again, too, you could argue that the landscape of warfare is changing.
Yeah,
It's not
100%.
your typical Cold War like we know. I just don't think he would have the balls to do that because it would trigger so much.
It would cascade. And honest, listen, but China is nefarious. But at the same time, when you look at Xi Jinping, does he look like he's an evil guy? I mean, when I look at him, I just like, oh, he's always got that smile, and I just could
like half smile. Yeah.
like he's like
So
the
did-
happy old grandpa. But
So did Barack Obama.
yeah,
Perfect example.
But my point is, what I'm really trying to say is, like China, though, they're like infiltrating our water systems. They're infiltrating our electric grid, and they just did a big old piece on it from 60 Minutes the other night. Not that that's reliable, but this. But it was a small town that they had infiltrated the water grid, and the FBI. You saw that, right?
Yeah, to me that was like a test piece. Like, hey, let's see if we can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're not. We're thinking big cities are going to take us out, but if they hit the heartland and they hit the all the food stops, all the production stops, all the factory stop, all of that, they're smart.
Yep.
And so I think that, I know that I think it's what do they call that when there's loss on collateral damage? I think there's going to be too much collateral damage. I feel, and maybe I'm wrong, I sense that they're going to come to some sort of terms. And I think that people are going to be pissed off at Trump a little bit because he's going to concede some stuff in the interest of working together to make things work so both sides are winning somewhat. You know what I'm saying?
Like, and I hate to sound like kind of like Debbie Downer, but China is a force. And people don't realize that, like, yes, America is, the biggest country in the world as
We
far
got
as
some
like
toys.
we've got some toys, right? But
Yeah.
China is that sleeping giant.
Yeah.
And you cannot underestimate China, because that's what they're betting on. They're betting on you to write them off so that you don't pay attention to them. And the one thing about China and the Chinese people in general, they have the patience of a saint. They will play the long game. They will play generations of slowly infiltrating you. And Jordan Peterson had a great point about this. It wasn't about China specifically, but he was saying, like, what is, if you wanted to infiltrate somebody else or overtake somebody else's country, what are you going to do? You're going to take little slow advancements until they cry foul, and then you're going to take a step back. Wait for everything to calm down, take another advancement until they cry foul, and take a step back. China's been doing that. You could call it 100 years.
Well,
And they're
dude,
willing to play that long game. And that's what people need to realize. Like, that is a force to be reckoned with.
just to bring a little American idiot into the podcast, a little woo woo. This is the stuff that makes me think, because what human, I mean, well, I guess Americans, I can only speak for Americans because we're pretty self-centric and egotistical and ego driven. But I feel like there's people that are out there that live longer than the human lifespan. And so if you lived longer than a human lifespan, a lot of people want to see the shade of the tree that they plant.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, man, and this gets back into that demonic crap. There's forces at work, man, because like some of and this ties into the Democratic Party, this ties into the whole communist playbook, how these rich people, these oligarchs or whatever they are, these cabal, that's the better word, that's behind the scenes, supposedly pulling all these strings, how they can play such a long freaking game, bro.
Yeah.
It's like they live in some kind of other timeline and they're just dipping down into the linear.
Exactly. And then for Americans, they know we being their adversary, they know that we want everything quick, fast, in a hurry. We want instant gratification. We're not even thinking about generations down the line. We're thinking about, what can I get next week? Oh, I got to wait longer than a week. It may not be worth my time.
Yeah.
These guys are going,
cancel it.
Exactly. China's going, hey, we can play this game for 10, 20, 30, 50 years when the Americans forget about it. And then all of a sudden we're going to turn that switch on and the game over.
And because, and I'm sorry, Aaron, I just want to, it also gives credence to, the leader. If you have a leader that is a leader longer than 4 years, there's coherency in the leadership for a long determined amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
No, I agree with you. Yep.
No. Okay. That's a lot.
That's our China.
Yeah, I took us all the way out to Mars there.
But it's good though. We need to be aware of it, because they're buying up our farmland, they're buying up land near freaking military bases. It's not something to be, pushing by the wayside.
If the Chinese had their way, they would shut down the grid, completely throw America into the Stone Age, and then attempt to invade. But they don't know how to make that happen, because geographically we're too far away for them to effectively move manpower from China to the United States. And you've got the nuclear deterrent as well. But I agree with you that they have thought out the long game, but there are so many problems with the game that haven't been solved yet, that it's not an immediate danger, because the biggest deterrent we have, and that the Soviet Union has, and that any other country that has nuclear ballistic missile submarines, is that nuclear ballistic missile submarine.
Yeah.
So unless they can figure out how to effectively shut everything off, which they can't, because that submarine is detached, and they have operating procedures that say, if this, then that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we have satellites in space, we have ground-based communication methods. So unless they have completely infiltrated everything, then there's still that deterrent. And then on the flip side, if you don't think we're trying to do the same thing to them, I think you're being short-sighted. So while it's a danger, absolutely, is there imminent danger heading our way tomorrow? Probably not.
Right.
I mean, for the last few months, it's been this thing flying through outer space it's an alien ship. It's not an alien ship. It's a comet, but it's not a comet. It's a comet alien ship. Well, we haven't heard.
Just
we haven't heard
aliens.
We haven't heard jack shit about that lately, because we've had the government shutdown. So if that doesn't go to tell you that it's a non-issue, and I don't
Right.
know what does. So
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah, it's not making the news cycle, so it must not be that serious.
just to
Yeah.
or just to jump on what you're saying, and number one, even if they did and they were capable, maybe they pulled out some reverse engineer alien tech, since we're talking about aliens, and they were able to zap us still. They wouldn't want to like destroy our nation because we're too valuable. So they would just take over and assume leadership over our country.
Yeah,
yeah, but
intellectual
but
property
they
is more valuable.
correct, but they would want to do away with the people that are the resistance first. And if
Yeah.
you were to shut down all the modern, our modern way of living and throw us back into an agrarian society, yeah, most of us are dead meat. So,
Mhm.
but anyway, let's move on to the next topic.
Oh man, dude, you said something. The only survivors of that are pretty much going to be the conservative movement. So
the
it'd be
no, the
screwed
Amish,
right
the Amish are going to be the survivors.
I hear you. I hear you.
I mean, that's period. They're off the grid. And they always have been, and they will be for the foreseeable future. But
I guess it's just another Tuesday for us.
yeah, whatever. Good riddance. You guys have been trying to steal our land from us forever and trying to make us take shots we don't want to take and shut down our raw milk. But well, apparently the Trump administration nukes another narco terrorist boat. I'm all for it. Keep blowing them
I
up.
love it.
I think we'll be at war with Venezuela, but it'll be more like going to war with the Falklands or Grenada or Panama. So it'll be over with rather quickly.
And
Biden.
you can tell. Sorry to interrupt, but you can tell how quickly it will be over by the response of the Venezuelan president. You can tell he's trying to posture now. He's trying to act all big and bad now to try to make it stop. But if it came down to a kinetic war, he knows it's game over. So he's trying to be the big dog right now to just make it stop.
Right. Agreed. Biden appointed judge orders ICE agents arrested at courthouse. This is coming out of Illinois. The judge says if ICE is there to execute an arrest on a warrant for an illegal alien and just so happens to run across more illegals while they're there, that if they effect the arrest of the others that they don't have the warrant for, he's going to throw them in jail. Let's see that happen. That's a bunch of bullshit, if you ask me. So we're gonna throw our law enforcement people in jail for doing their job.
And the stipulation is that they have to be inside the courthouse. Is that the stipulation? I believe that's the only way that the judge has that jurisdiction to be able to do that.
Well, let's read the article.
But which in that case, just wait outside the door. I mean, it's ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous.
Well, a Biden appointed judge has ruled ICE violated an earlier agreement from 2022 limiting its work at courthouses. In his ruling, Judge Jeffrey Cummings emphasized that agents should be arrested if they continue taking illegals into custody at, not in, but at courthouses. So it could be in courthouse grounds. Who knows?
But,
the centerpiece.
But what you said, taking into custody illegals.
Yes.
Like,
right there, the whole sentence says it.
What else do you need to know?
Well, it says the approach the judge is taking in the legality of the issue actually has to do with the so-called warrantless arrest, presumably without cause, even though we're talking about illegals inside the court illegally. So it's not like arresting an American citizen. Yeah. Me waking up being an American citizen is not against the law. Me waking up as a citizen and speeding is against the law. Robbing a bank is against the law. Doing drugs is against the law. But me being in my own country legally is not against the law. Like you just said, illegal. I mean, so you don't need a warrant to effect an arrest on somebody doing something illegal. So we'll see if that plays out in court or if he has balls enough to have any one of them arrested. In Chicago, I'm sure they'll find some douchebag cop that'll follow the orders to do that. But we'll see what happens.
Well, they'll stand him down probably. But there's also the judge that continued that little ruling out there in Illinois about not allowing ICE into Chicago or the National Guard.
The National Guard.
Yeah, the National Guard.
And that'll get overturned as well, just like it happened in Oregon as well. And by the way, when I said douchebag cop, I don't mean cops are douchebags, but they'll find a douchebag who is a cop.
Right.
So for somebody who's going to try to take that out of context, kiss my ass.
And then what those dudes, what the actual cops need to do is let that douchebag cop, let him arrest them.
Yeah.
Make it as public as possible. Let him arrest them. Because we all know it's not legal for them to do that. It's just lawfare. So let them arrest them, make a big scene about it, and then we'll sue the shit out of them and get that judge disbarred.
So we got a GOP senator who says she plans to sue the Biden DOJ officials over invasion of phone privacy. So the FBI was watching a handful of senators after January 6th, monitoring their activity illegally in an effort to continue to persecute Republicans, conservatives, and J6ers. And that was extremely, extremely illegal, and a real big black eye on the DOJ and the FBI as far as I'm concerned. I can't wait to see this play out in court. Um, Who knows if anybody will go to jail? Probably get some hands slapped. Not enough as far as I'm concerned in terms of punishment. But again, at least it's an example where we can go, that was weaponization of the DOJ. You were doing the very things that you continue to accuse the Trump administration of. They're not weaponizing. They're going after people who broke the law, such as Big Tish out in New York, who married her dad and bought a house. I mean, for fuck's sake. It is so cut and dry. It's in black and white. We have the signatures, we have the paperwork, but she gets on TV, and the confidence with which she says the weaponization of the DOJ of the Trump administration. It's like, my God, you're guilty.
MLK style speech, like, just shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah. Dude,
it's where I'm kind of in a grouchy mood. I've been outside all day. I'm on vacation in
I can
Florida,
tell.
sunbaked, but it's just wearing thin. Listen to these guys bitch, complain, and piss and moan, saying I'm not guilty. I'm not guilty. Well, all along they were pointing the finger at innocent people, saying, "Well, that's the guilty party." And now that the politics has done a 180 and everything is shifted, and we're going, nope, now we're going to get you. I'm not guilty. This is persecution. It's weaponization, false document, made up. I didn't do it, on and on and on. And then to have the mainstream media, and they're having a harder time if you watch it closely like we do, they're having a hard time wrapping that turd in enough wrapper and ribbon to make it sellable anymore.
Well, dude, that's kind of like the turd of the No Kings Day. Too.
God,
a turd by near the name is still a turd.
No matter how much you spit shine it.
Well, I mean, do y'all want to get into that? This No Kings bullshit going on?
Sure, why not? Let's talk about the fake crowd photographs and the spinning.
MSNBC that got called out for the fake photo.
Yeah.
Well, dude, even if they did have a decent sized, organized, paid turnout, regardless of the fact, it's not doing anything, and it's out of touch with reality. They're marching to obviously a beat of a different drummer, but they're marching to stuff that doesn't exist.
Exactly, and it's
in like reality.
You talk to them, and you'll get some of those people like, well, you just don't get the nuance of it. It means something deeper than just No Kings. It's like, but at the heart of it, I would say 90% of the people are there to protest a quote unquote king. And you can't name one thing that he's done that has been king-like, or he hasn't been a tyrant in any way, shape, or form as far as whatever their definition of a tyrant is. It's just a whole fucking waste of time. It's all the funniest thing is that they're like, no, say no to billionaires and all that stuff. That's their chanting orders or marching orders. And then you look who's funding this shit, and it's like 10 to 12 billionaires. The CCP, the US CCP party is part of this fucking donation. Yeah, like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, dude. And then, what I do like is, you got Harry Sisson getting, Trump
shit on,
trolling the crap. And then you had the press secretary. A lot of people would be like, oh, that's so unprofessional. But dude, all the professional crap in the past got us nowhere except where we are.
Exactly.
And so this unprofessionalism, at least it's getting some stuff done. And she's like, your mom. That was, I love it.
Oh my God.
Dude,
that
touchdown.
Please, somebody needs to frame that and put that in her office.
Your mom.
Yeah, no joke.
Your mom.
Well, and speaking of the No Kings list, I think it was Nancy Mace who put out the list. And it was like $279 million in donations. Now, I Googled No Kings donor list. There's no single No Kings donor list because the term likely refers to the No Kings Act or the No Labels political. So that's Google's AI response to my search query. When we know damn good and well there's a list, and it is a long list of the same characters every time.
I've got a picture of that donor list. I'll send it to you real quick so you can put it up there.
I don't have that functionality tonight.
Oh yeah.
It's at the end of the day, yeah.
Okay, here I'll just read it off real quick. So total funds sent to No Kings. Let's see, funding network. So Arabella is 76, almost 70. Yeah, no, 79 million. Buffett, 16.6 million. Ford, 51.7 million. Rockefeller, 28.6 million. Soros, 72.1 million. And Tides, 45.5 million for a grand total of $294 million.
And I was incorrect. It
no to
was
billionaires.
it was Anna Paulina Luna who put the list out. My mistake. Yeah, and here's the list.
Great follow.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you haven't followed her on any of the platforms, you should. She's a no nonsense, better looking than MTG and a little classier, but I like them both.
I'll take both of them.
One you can take to the tractor pulls, one you can take to the the opera.
That's a great That's a great way.
Brian Glenn, I have nothing to do with this. You follow me, and I'm a big supporter of your fiance.
We love you both.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we love them both for sure. So.
In a consensual way.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
a purely platonic, like a sister and brother way.
Consensual way.
Democrats are in panic mode as redistricting and key SCOTUS case could spell doom for the Democrats ahead of 2026. So more states have made it a point to go ahead and redraw their maps based on their state constitutions, and Democrats are having a hard time fighting back.
Do you think that's really going to get overturned? I mean,
well,
honestly,
it has in Texas.
But I'm talking about at SCOTUS level.
No, it won't get overturned. These are state laws.
State levels, yeah, it's all state levels. So
Yeah, but-
I'll touch on this. So the Galveston County, that basically took I can't remember, took it to the Supreme Court of Texas to basically overturn for the redistricting thing. So I live in Galveston County. So the districts that they're talking about, if you look at the map and look how they're drawn, it is very clearly drawn in such a way that it is an advantage for Democrats.
Yes.
And if you live in the area, logically, you're like, these districts don't make sense. But to the people outside of this area that don't know the area and who, what the demographics are, it's like, well, no, that makes sense. The way this is drawn, it makes sense here. But if you know the actual demographics of the area, it makes no sense. So for Galveston County to challenge it and actually win is a huge, huge milestone for the state of Texas. And it gives the rest of these, deep blue city areas precedence to be like, look, this is bullshit. That one map that was drawn in San Antonio, Austin area, where it was like the district went from San Antonio, big thick line in San Antonio, really small thing right along I-35. Like they made all of that part of the district. It's like, that's bullshit. It's gerrymandering.
Yeah. And go look at Illinois. We're more gerrymandered than anywhere. It's screwed up.
So what's this? Like so I haven't been paying close enough attention, but I keep hearing, and I know it should be, but like I keep hearing about like how this, there was a SCOTUS who weighed in on it and said, who made an opinion. And then they were talking about, I started seeing stuff about California. If this ruling is overturned, then it means this for California.
Well, California is trying to conflate what's happening in Texas to be able to justify what they're doing in California, which is not even close to the same. It's not even in the same fucking ballpark. Thing. No, but they're trying to use Texas's precedents to justify their gerrymandering.
But there's the Voting Rights Act. That's what's going in front of SCOTUS.
Okay, so, that's what I'm confused.
Yeah,
it's a section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, I believe.
So it says, with multiple red states now redrawing their congressional maps, Democrats are poised to lose significant amount of seats, even if Newsom's gerrymandering attempt in California succeeds. So we'll offset anything he does, which is bad news already. But the Supreme Court is also getting ready to rule on a case that could gut the Voting Rights Act. And it said if this happens, Democrats will lose up to 19 more seats in 2026. Then it's game over.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to get into the specifics of the Voting Rights Act. I'm not qualified to do that at the moment. But if it's made it all the way up to SCOTUS, then we know that it's a case they've accepted to hear the arguments before them. Yes. And if they can make a case to overturn it based on the fact that it's illegal, it's discriminatory, whatever the argument's going to be, we'll be following it closely. But if that happens and breaks in our favor, the House is gone. I mean, we're going to own the House for 25, 30 years.
And that's why they're so focused on Texas right now, because that's part of the Voting Rights Act is what was
Okay,
tried
so here,
and judged on.
so here's what
It's
it is. The Voting Rights Act, a landmark law barring discrimination in voting, was a product of the U.S. Civil Rights era sought by Nobel Peace Prize recipient Martin Luther King, passed by Congress and signed by Democrat Lyndon Johnson in 1965. 6 decades later, it faces its greatest threat with the U.S. Supreme Court, which has 6-3 conservative majority, looking poised to hollow out one key section after gutting a different section in 2013. The court is expected to rule in the coming months in a case argued on Wednesday concerning a map delineating U.S. House of Representatives districts in Louisiana. The conservative justices signaled they could undercut the law's Section 2, which
Section 2,
bars voting maps that would result in diluting the voting power of minorities, even without direct proof of racist intent. In doing so, the court would not be striking down the act, but the question is what will be left of the law after the court issues its decision. So as they've continued to gerrymander and populations have begun to ebb and flow and move in and out, now they can make a case that, well, you're disenfranchising certain people in certain places based on this map, even if it's not intentional.
right. And I can speak a little bit more on that, because this is exactly what was happening in Galveston County and got overturned. So what they would do is you have what's called coalitions, racial coalitions. So what they would do is take two minority voters in whatever district and then combine them together to say that, all right, these two are combined together to be able to create a bigger group and therefore have better representation in whatever district. So what the Supreme Court of Texas ruled is that you cannot take two different racial groups and combine them together to create a coalition. They have to
Right.
stand on their own merits within their own population. That's it. And if you do that, it basically redraws all the maps.
It's interesting how these institutions, they were clever. They took something that probably started out with pure intentions and then hijacked that sucker. And who's going to say, oh,
well, nobody wants to have that argument because they don't want to be labeled an ist.
Well,
yeah,
and then
I know, right?
Who the fuck has heard about Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act? Nobody.
Right.
Not till tonight.
Nobody even knew that racial coalitions were a thing. So, I mean, it's one of those things that they buried deep. And that was probably in some omnibus bill that was buried in, page 3050 that nobody fucking read. Right. And they voted on it. So it's another one of those political games, man.
Right.
It's crazy.
Well, it may come back to bite them, for such a long time. Just like you said, no one's going to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Right. I mean, they're so clever. Everything that I've been going down the rabbit hole lately, learning, and I grew up. Anyways, the point is, it is insane what we come to believe as young adults, and then what we learn when we grow up finally.
Right. Yeah.
And to learn
it's the access to information now is giving us the opportunity to catch up on all that stuff that they've tried to pull over our, pull the wool over our eyes.
Well, so let's talk about voting and pulling the wool over our eyes. I'm going to screw this up. That Tantrika Lady Dakini, California, also misprinted the redistricting maps in official ballot materials and corrected. And the correction was sent as a single 5x8-inch postcard. And then you can see on some of those voting envelopes, if you vote and you insert your envelope the right way, there's a hole in the envelope, and if the black dot is visible, it means you voted no for the measure. So they'll just throw those out. So somebody caught on to that and sued, and now they have to go back and reprint all that stuff. And I heard it was like a $30 million, issue to correct. Oh, it's just a mistake on our part. No, it's not. No, and then they've caught it in another state. I read an article earlier today. I just can't find it right now. But if somebody's going to be sorting those out and they're being an evildoer, they're just going to say you throw out the one where you see the black dot, and all those ballots just magically go in the garbage.
Or even they don't even have to be an evildoer. You just pay somebody to say, hey, look, I'll give you $1,000 if you just start throwing out these ballots that have this black dot. Those people that are hurting for money in California,
they'll do it.
People that can't afford it, they'll do it.
They won't ask no questions.
Exactly.
Wow. And then they go after these people in the name of the law. People that are middle class and lower, they hold them accountable to the law. Nobody's above the law. But then we sit there on national TV, on social media, and watch these laws being broken over and over again in our face.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is done about it.
Right.
Absolutely nothing is done about it. And
Well,
and it's
there is hope because the NFL claims Bad Bunny will deliver a united moment at the Super Bowl halftime show. So
yeah.
just wait
The tide
till
is turning.
February.
I hope he's winning the draft.
Bad Bunny's gonna hop his ass out there and unite all of America.
The question is, will it be in English though?
Dude, I don't know, dude.
Brett, we have subtitles and closed captioning. Stop being that way.
Sorry, I'm being racist.
Gosh,
My bad.
man. I just, I hope it's a plaid miniskirt. Those are kind of fashionable. Dude, he just got some nice calves. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm not even gonna watch the freaking halftime show. I'm gonna watch.
Nobody's probably gonna watch.
I'm gonna watch the TPUSA.
The TPUSA have, dude. I bet it gets better ratings. What do you want to bet?
I bet it does too.
I hope. Dude.
Look, Bugs Bunny would get better ratings than Bad Bunny.
Yeah, possibly.
True.
Yeah,
True.
yeah.
Dude, I had
and he's a
never even
plant
heard of
anyway.
Bad Bunny before.
I hadn't either.
Before Happy Gilmore too. That was the first time
He's a
heard
plant, bro. He's a plant, dude. I've gone
You went down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. And then they just kind of knight people now. It's
Bad
so
Bunny.
it's so lame.
Yeah,
dude.
it's like you don't have to have any talent. You just have to say and do the right things at the right time. And it's like, oh no, his music is so good. It's like, not really.
Things started shifting in 2008, 2012. All the original industry, like the good movies, stopped.
Yeah.
The good music stopped.
Then the remakes of the movies started happening. Yeah.
And it's just like, what? And then it's kind of like a sterile world now. You're just like, what is? I'm so out of touch with it. Like the Taylor Swifts. I'm so out of touch with like who's who anymore.
Yeah.
You're not a Swiftie?
I'm not a Swiftie.
You look like a Swiftie, man. I'm gonna tell you.
I used to go to Swiftie gas station. They used to have 99-cent packs of cigarettes, and they would pump your gas for you. I think it was Swiftie. Did they have Swiftie gas stations where you're from? No.
Nope, couldn't tell you.
Well, I wouldn't move to Canada because they report to killing over 100,000 people with physician-assisted suicide. They're a bunch of sick fucks up there.
Man,
That's crazy. How do you get to that point?
That is a wild thing. I've tried to reconcile that mentally. I just don't know how. The only way I could justify it is if it's like a cancer patient that is just writhing in pain.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like you can't play God. I don't know how to reconcile that in my.
Well,
head.
you've seen. I went down this one lady. I was scrolling through TikTok one night, and she's like, "If you're seeing this video, this means I'm no longer alive.
Yes.
I comfortably chose to blah blah blah." And I'm like, "What in the?" So I had to go down that rabbit hole, and I'm like, "This lady just like had." She seemed like she was doing okay. I'm sure she was in some pain, but she knew the outcome.
Right.
And it's kind of takes you back to like Robin Williams and his situation and what was going on with him. And so like, I don't know. I mean, we put our dogs down. I know humans aren't dogs, but as long as they're making this choice, I don't know where to stand.
Well, it gives people control too. Like I understand, like I want to be in control of my destiny, that type of thing. I understand that, but at the same time, it's like,
I don't think it's right, but
somebody that just had a bad day shouldn't be able to go in there and fucking end it.
I need a script.
Yeah, like I mean, but that's that slippery slope.
There should be laws, but see, every time we move the goal line, and I was thinking about this today.
Give them an inch, they're gonna take a mile.
Did you see the pedophile dude that did the video?
No.
Graham Allen highlighted it. The guy, dude, so they've been talking about maps for a while, right? At least the last 12 years or 10, 12 years since 2012
maps,
or
the pedos?
minor. Yeah. And so like it's, and then they're like talking about it then it starts morphing into a sexual orientation. And then it starts, now dudes are getting out there and say, I am a pedophile. I'm sexually attracted to minors, but I don't believe it's right for an adult to touch a minor. So now they've moved the goalpost or the goal line.
Yes.
Next thing you know, it's going to be like, what's next? You know what I'm saying? So this is what they are doing. Yeah. And it's all wrapped up in this insanity.
I was talking about with China. You go until people start protesting and saying that's wrong, and then you back it off a little bit, and then you slowly
but the
start
line is moved.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the same thing with this assisted suicide stuff. But I think if you have strong laws about it, I don't think I have the balls to do something like that to myself, no matter what I'm in. But like,
I've also never been a cancer patient in stage 4 cancer, fucking writhing in pain all day. You know what I mean?
Or a Lewy body dementia type stuff.
Right. Yeah. Like I think there's I can understand the medical necessity for it. You can't make it available to the everyday person.
Yeah.
Like
Aaron, what are your thoughts, man?
I don't even want to talk about it. It's sick and disgusting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we know where you
I mean,
stand. on it.
I'll be honest. Go read what Canada does and look at the people they've suggested. Go ahead and opt for physician-assisted suicide, and you'll see why I don't want to talk
So
about
you didn't even spell it out, bro. Like,
Yeah.
what are they doing up there? Like, what are they doing?
it. You mean how?
Yeah, no, I know the how, but like
Mhm.
you're saying what they're suggesting. Are they telling like
threshold
There are some things that they're suggesting people just opt suicide for that you would never ever consider here in the United States. And
Wow.
again, go
pretty
search
slow.
it out. It's not even worth
Okay.
talking about it. You'll just be like, what the fuck? These people are out of
Yeah.
their minds.
Right. So
Okay.
it's like they're just that's the easy way out, and they're just like not even the threshold is low for them to be able to say that
Yes.
that's justifiable.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I had another article here. 1 second. Well, John Brennan's been criminally referred to the DOJ. That's great news. Cash
Knew that was
Patel says they're going to talk about who is funding Antifa, but those aren't the two articles. Where did
I
they
thought
go?
Antifa didn't exist.
It's just a creation in your mind. It's just an idea.
They don't have a logo or a flag or anything like that.
A book, a method of operation. Stephen A. Smith seems like he's coming back to reality. He says NBA star Kyrie Irving was right about the COVID-19 vaccine.
Wow. Old Stephen A. It seems like he's making a political move.
He's jockeying for politics for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can tell which side he's picking, but we'll see how it plays out. I don't know. I think he's too theatrical to be able to be taken seriously at this point. But, you could argue Trump was the same way. We'll see.
If I
Do
can't
you have
find
any
it here in a minute,
coffee?
we'll pick
Aaron?
another one. No coffee. No,
You need coffee.
I've never had a cup of coffee in my life. No joke.
What?
I am that guy. No, nope.
Are you a
coffee.
tea guy?
I'm unsweet tea.
Dude, you got tea?
No, I gotta go to sleep anyway this evening. It's 9:00 here on the East Coast almost. Gotta get up. Got a big day. I gotta travel tomorrow.
Where you gotta go?
Back home, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh, it's over already.
Too fast.
Wow.
Well, I'm down here doing my retirement planning.
Good. That's some good news.
All right, well, let's see what's the gallery got to say. Let's do some comments while I'm looking.
Dan Jones, our frequent viewer. Hey Dan, how's it going? He was talking about the assisted suicide and saying it's literally cheaper for them to kill the patients than care for them. Which that could be part of the argument. Yeah, is
that really an argument?
Yeah, but doesn't that violate their Hippocratic oath?
Well, maybe they don't. Maybe they don't have that in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Man, it's a wild situation. I don't know. That's something I never in my lifetime thought that we would have to reconcile with. It's crazy.
Well, I think the first time I said I don't want to talk about this. Here I am doing it. Who was the U.S. doctor that first made
Kevorkian?
Dr. Kevorkian, yeah. He was the first time I ever heard about that. So, yeah. Anyway,
bro, what a life, man! What a life this is. The only thing I keep hearing about is, and honestly, just over and over again, obviously, besides Israel and U.S. relations, but the aliens disclosure. They're really pushing this documentary that's getting ready to drop. I mean, it's going hard. You got
Which one?
The one with Lena Paluna. I never can say it right.
Yeah.
And what's his name? The funny guy that's the politician, but he's witty. Gosh. But anyways, the point.
Yes.
But he's a funny guy. He's always like doing some silly stuff up in Congress.
He's the comedic relief in Congress.
Yeah. You got two of them. There's Kennedy guy and then this guy.
And
this guy.
Guy.
But they're really pushing this disclosure stuff, and it just makes me wonder what he's talking. Aaron's talking about the collapse of the economy, and you've got the digital currency and the real ID and all of these things that are coming. These are things are going to happen. I was talking to GPT, and GPT was literally telling me the same things that Aaron said, the same things that we've all talked about. And the dying of the dollar, and it was giving me like, here's what you need to do for at least 4 to 5 months. invest in this, buy this, get this, and then fortify yourself. Make sure that you have, clean drinking water. I'm like, you're supposed to be encouraging me, man. I'm like, good Lord. And we were talking about the alien. I was like, this is part of the SOP. They're gonna bring it in, and then they're gonna shut everything down, false flag, EMP pulse, something like that.
Right.
I've heard a bunch of different scenarios. Then we see collapse, and then the savior comes in, and then we're all under the thumb. Whatever that is.
There has to be one big global event that brings everybody together, unified under one goal, which is to save humanity from whatever the boogeyman is they invent next. And that's part of the plan. And I read another article where it says President Trump wants to have a National Guard fast reaction force up and running by April 26th to deal with civil unrest. So for that to be made public, or at least make it into the news sphere, what does that tell you that the intelligence agencies are telling the president? Here's what to expect. We do need to mobilize our assets to move quickly in order to deal with civil unrest. And here's the article I was looking for. The headline says soldiers can refuse illegal orders, and all three of us understand this, not judge the Constitution. It says liberals and liberal Democrats on social media are encouraging U.S. service members to refuse activation orders within the United States, particularly those involving the protection of ICE agents or policing in crime-ridden cities. Many claim such orders are unconstitutional and argue that the troops should disobey them, citing the UCMJ, which is the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which requires service members to reject unlawful orders. The fact the president activates you to deal with civil unrest, natural disasters, that is not an illegal order. You may not like it, you might have a moral issue with it, but you don't get to pick and choose what you will report for duty for or not. And I promise you that Pete Hegseth will find them and throw their ass in the brig.
Right.
And then they will be dishonorably discharged, and that shit sticks with you like herpes. And it ain't never going away, and it will fucking ruin you.
But in this seditious talk, when you're trying to talk military people, that's sedition. That's seditious talk. That should be, they should be held liable for even mentioning. There
was one, he was a high ranking officer that jury was out on whether he was active duty or not, but he was basically telling soldiers to disobey the orders. And people were like, you can't do that. He was in uniform, everything. And it was like, dude, you're towing a line that you may not want to tow.
I think it was a general in the Mississippi National Guard.
It may have been. Yeah, it may have been. I know he was in uniform. He was making some bold claims and telling soldiers to disobey the orders and all kinds of stuff, and had no legal precedence or background or any kind of grounds to be able to make those claims. And it was just like, dude, that ain't good.
Let me double check my facts here.
And if any of you have been in the military, which I know you two guys have, but like they preach that from day one.
Pecking order, bro.
Do not fucking make any kind of political statements or judgments in uniform and say that, this is, they make that very clear from the very beginning. So for him to do that, even as a high ranking officer, is just unreal.
Yeah, it's insane, man. It's kind of crazy because, a while back they were having TV series. A TV series had come out, and it was showing Chicago, which is kind of ironic, and the governor ordering the National Guard to stand against the president. And so they had a showdown at the airport, and I'm like, what in the world? And it was literally like a showdown between the president and the National Guard. It was insane. It was called Rabbit Hole with Kiefer Sutherland. I was like, dude, I didn't even know how they let this thing on the air for 12 episodes, because they were talking about how they activate people and everything. And I was like, how is this out there?
Some OPSEC shit getting out.
And then they canceled it after one season. It was some of the best stuff that I had ever seen. But the point is they put this stuff out there. And to your point, Aaron, you were talking about, all the stuff that has to happen, and the way you bent that into that article, right? That was beautiful, by the way. My question is, and this is what kind of calms me a little bit. The mitigating circumstance is that China's not going to go for a U.S. domination of the global politics, and nor is the U.S. going to go for so it's either brewing towards a war, if there's going to be this ultimate showdown in whatever the PSYOP that is supposedly coming, may or may not come. But it's going to be an interesting next couple of years. I would say that, say the least.
And I think like with the National Guard stuff going on and Trump activating them to protect the federal facilities, it's like people don't understand that like they are only there to protect the federal facilities. They're not, all this propaganda about them going out and just, pepperballing just random citizens and all this shit. It's like, no, that's not happening.
And this is not the first time we've done this in the country either.
Exactly. And okay, let's rewind to 2020 when you had the National Guard walking lockstep down the streets, making people stay in their houses for COVID. Like if you're going to talk about some kind of overstepping of lines, to me, that's fucking tip top. It's not, it's not ICE, a federal or National Guard troops standing in front of an ICE facility because fucking blue-haired nose ring leftists are throwing shit at it, and trying to burn it down. It's like, it's completely different.
It is. And we had another Illinois judge tell ICE they have to remove the fence that they erected up around the ICE facility. So they're doing everything they can to antagonize ICE and all other law enforcement, including National Guard, to prevent them from doing what they're supposed to do, which is to protect federal property.
Yeah.
They know they know they're wrong. They don't give a shit. Go ahead.
They have the federal government can claim eminent domain. They can say, you know what, nice try, but this is ours now.
Yeah.
And so they can literally take over a piece of land, and you cannot come in and say, they could literally go to grandma's house and say, we're claiming this.
Right. And they could claim martial law if they wanted to.
Yeah. Well, they can say this is a federal building. We're here to protect it, right? They can't go to grandma's house and take it. I mean, the country would be falling apart. Eminent domain is a little more involved in that legally. But to say that they're not allowed to protect their own federal facilities and then use means and methods to protect themselves from the rioters is a bunch of bullshit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they've got the ability to have eminent domain, how can a state judge or even a federal judge in that state say to them that they can't protect their own facility?
Right.
Well, I think it's not a matter of how can the judge do it. The Democrats and the lunatic left knew in their hearts they just weren't going to have to deal with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Because he just wasn't going to be there. So they didn't prepare adequately for the fact or for the possibility that he was going to be elected president again. And then when he became president again, they're like, oh shit, what do we do? There have been more injunctions thrown at President Trump than any other president in history.
Oh, 100%.
So with not knowing how to deal with him, with not going, man, we know we're going to lose this election. We're 18 months out. We know what he wants to do. We have an idea of the executive orders he's going to pass. We know he's going to be hot and heavy on deportation and illegal immigrants and all this stuff. Now we've got 18 months to plan. They just knew he was going to be dead.
Yeah.
Or in prison, one or the other. We're just not going to have to deal with him. So they didn't have to plan properly. So they're scrambling and they're shoveling the proverbial shit at the wall to see what sticks. And they're losing more court cases than they're winning. But it's still like throwing a bunch of nails in the road and flattening the tire of the vehicle. So every time they've got to stop and fix the flat, it just slows down the speed with which we can enact and do the things necessary to come up with a streamlined process to get more people out of the country that don't belong here in order to look what they did with Doge. And, that kind of fell apart. I think Doge is still working, but nowhere near to the same speed and level of what they were at the beginning of the administration. So they've really slowed down the capability of the president and his administration to do the things that need to get done. However, I think that the pace is going to pick back up after the midterms. They're gonna lose so many seats in the House. It's not going to matter. We've got to get a supermajority in the Senate. I am right. You trust me on this, guys. Because people in their gut know that it's not getting any better.
Well,
I mean, gas has come down a little bit, but rent is still too high. Electricity has tripled, quadrupled in some places, including in my home state.
Wow.
It's still too expensive to live. Now we're finally seeing mortgage rates come down. We're finally starting to see inflation moderate, But here's the kicker to inflation. If you had the price of eggs go up 200% and they come down 100%, they're still 100% higher than they used to be. So we're never going to get back 100% of the price gains.
Never do.
You never
No,
do, right?
never
It's not going to go down at the same pace that it went up. So unfortunately, the cost of living is going to go up. So then how do we offset that? Well, wages have to go up with inflation. Well, how does that happen? Well, we've got a healthy economy. Well, we don't. We're going into recession. Sharpen your pencils, people. It's not going to get any better anytime soon. We're going to be in a full-blown recession. We already are. They just haven't announced it. And you're going to see more unemployment. You're going to see hiring slow down. So find out what your side hustle is. Have a garage sale now, clean out the house, take the time, and then start canceling your Netflix and your television subscription and get down to the bare basics. And you just have to be smart with your money.
Yep.
Because it'll take till the end of President Trump's term, in my opinion. And guys, I'm not an economist. This is my unqualified opinion. Before we really have a solid footing back under our country and our economy, and we have reestablished thoroughly American dominance around the world.
Do you, and this is a question, do you believe the poll that came out today, or it was yesterday? I can't believe they say that 53% of Americans disagree with Trump on the government, whose fault it is about the
No.
government shutdown. And
The
that
shutdown? No.
independent.
They blame the Democrats, not Donald Trump.
How do we-
Yeah, I mean, the polls,
that?
you got to read where the polls coming from, first of all. But no, I don't. I mean, they're all cooked. All those polls are cooked.
Dude, and I'm going to tell you another joker out there, Joe Walsh. That dude.
God.
I'm like, this guy thinks he's doing something, and it's like watching, dude. It's like watching a kid that's a bad kid trying to be a cool kid, and
That's a
you're just
great
like,
analogy.
and you're watching them clown from across the parking lot, sipping on your
Yeah.
shake at Sonic, and you're just
Yeah.
hot dog, and you're just watching them act stupid, and you're just like, dude, I know he thinks that's cool, but he's really going to look back like this, back on this later on, like line dancing and Billy Ray Cyrus. You know, it's like in a mullet haircut. It's
God, yeah. They're just so out of touch. I mean, it's
parachute pants.
parachute pants.
So it's
Hey, those are coming back, dude.
Yeah.
Baggy pants are coming back.
he stands up. He's got his on little American flags.
American flag boxers.
That's right, baby.
American flag.
All right. Well, it's getting a little spirited there in my Instagram chat regarding the National Guard and the deployment and their purpose, but everybody seems to be pretty civil. But all right, it's about 5 till, and I want to thank everybody for stopping in for the show. We'll be on again next Wednesday, same time, same location.
Same time.
Yeah, same bad time, same bad channel. If you have any questions or articles that you want us to specifically hit, message any of us on Instagram, and we will write those down and make it a point to have an in-depth discussion on those if it's important to you. Otherwise, just show up and listen to three American idiots babble about the news. We're just average guys working average jobs, being exceptional husbands and fathers and citizens, taking care of our families and our neighbors and our friends, and
Trying to
hoping we
survive.
and trying to survive and hoping we relate to the average everyday American. So
Oh, yeah.
America's Outpost.
A few
That's right, baby.
a few American idiots hanging out at the American Outpost.
There you
it
go.
is. There it is. Real quick, we don't have to get super in depth to this, but Megyn Kelly.
Oh
Dropping
my
the-
goodness. Yeah.
Woo! Getting after that.
That's a
couple
smoke
liberal
show. She's a
retards.
smoke show, man.
Man, I love her uncensored takes on shit. Now she's not,
Yeah.
you know, she take the gag out, and let her speak her mind. I love it.
Yeah,
She,
dude.
I mean, she whatever she was talking about that some vile that the leftists during the No Kings that was doing the shot to the neck. Like I can't even remember. her name.
dude,
It's
she
not
was
even worth
smashing.
But
like
she was just
SmackDown.
like, "Fuck you." You
Right?
know? I was like, "Yes, that's what we need. We need some
Yeah.
of that fire."
All right. Well, everybody go out and watch and follow Megyn Kelly. You won't be disappointed, and we will see you all next week.
All right, sound off. Give us messages. Let us know what you want to hear. We appreciate you guys. Follow us on YouTube. Aaron, you want to shout YouTube?
Yeah, follow me on YouTube, Instagram, X, and Facebook, please, at Doge Update Guy.
Yep. Mine is at Doge News Official. There's some periods and underscores in there. Just give it a search. You'll find my logo. I'm in there. And then at Real Brett Lee on Instagram, at Doge Official on Instagram. Brian, go ahead.
And at Brian Lane.
Brian
All
Lane
the
on
platforms.
everything under the sun.
Yep. That's it. Pretty basic.
All right, guys. We appreciate
All right.
you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
See ya.